Welcome back to Brothers and Booze after a short hiatus and a whole lot of craziness. How you
hmm
doing, Doug?
I'm doing great, man. How about you? How you holding up?
I'm doing pretty solid, man. First of all, back to this thing real quick. Do you know what the do you
I,
know where we were at first of all? We were in
I'm going to say it was either Japan or China.
Yeah, we were in China. And do you know what these crazy people?
My first inclination would be some sort of iPhone because it was an Apple stuff, but I don't.
Yes. Yes. Now, we in America, we know about the craze of iPhones here. I don't think we have a grasp of it anywhere else. So that's why I love to show this because it's not just here, dog. And I'm happy with my Android. I don't really need all this. That's some crazy shit, y'all.
Yeah, I actually have an iPhone and I am switching over tomorrow to an Android. So
Oh, okay.
apropos, sir. Very good.
Well, you don't need to be. I mean, it's a phone, people. It's a fucking phone. Oh
Oh
my
man.
god. Anyway, a lot of shit's happened since I last saw you.
Yeah, a lot. But first, let's start with what's in your glass. Let's get there first.
Yeah, there's no craziness like iPhone craziness. Chris, yes, and I thought it was only not that I didn't think it was only America, but I didn't think it was like that crazy over there. And obviously, it has to be crazy elsewhere too, though, Doug, because I mean, Apple is just so big, and iPhones are just so crazy, man. But I was on one of one of my adventures while we were both on adventures, obviously. One of mine was up to Central Waters, and I ended up getting the pre-dried pills. I'm pretty sure I had this one before. It's a crisp, wonderful lager pills. Fantastic. Um, really, again, crisp is the thing that comes out more than anything.
Mhm.
Wish I had a little bit more head, but nah, this will go down fast. I love a good pills. You already know that.
Yes, sir. So,
What's going on, bro? What you got?
well, I'm going to pull something from my buddy JHG, and he sent me a Port City Gold Nail Beach Drive.
Oh,
I've not had this. It's
oh,
4.4.0. It's a gold nail. So let's
oh.
give this a go. Start this
Anything
up.
out of Port City is fantastic. So,
Yeah,
pretty
I've
much.
not had a bad beer from them. So
So while you pour that, I want to say that we have a wonderful guest,
mm,
Jared Fisher from Ailmatic. We didn't advertise it because I didn't know until literally minutes before the show that he was going to be on. So
mm.
fantastic. We have him coming right up now. But Doug, what's going on with that poor city?
Well, look at that. That's really lovely color, right?
Well, I love the glass, of
I
course.
know you like this glass. Oh, that's lovely. Like really just it's a little sweet. Not overly so, just smooth. This is a super great lawnmower beer. Just it's only 4%, so it's nice and crushable. It's really, really super good. Gold nails, I tend to get like I think of Belgians, and those are usually bigger. This is not. This is
Mm-hmm.
but this is nice and light, really good. Like I said, super crushable. Thanks again, JHG. That's lovely.
Yes. What's up, Stubbs? How you doing?
What's up,
Love his
Stubbs?
profile picture. He looks so hot in that one.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
so handsome.
Yes, handsome. I love that. That's great too. I like hot too with an HAWT.
Yeah.
Yes, welcome back. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel. Good to
Dan-
have you back too. It's been a while. We've had you in here too.
yeah, and Daniel's podcast is on it's in my queue literally, and it's one I gotta jump on. I think they're into what? What you got, Daniel? 4 now? 5? I see them getting posted, but I haven't been able to jump in yet, but I'm going to jump in soon. So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. And Jeff says he's still rocking his iPhone 8. What do you got?
That's what I got right here. And mine is the problem is there's my wife, but sorry, Joel.
Well, I'd rather see her than you, of course, but
Yes. Hey,
we've
to be
addressed
fair,
that.
to be fair, she is much better looking than me. So, um,
Absolutely. Go on.
but yeah, this one, my problem is my battery is like just shot. Like it's maybe half the day I get out of a full charge. So, just I think it's time to switch, and I'm going with a Google Pixel 4a because those things are only $350 as opposed to fucking $1,200 for an iPhone.
Right.
And plus the Googles are much less bloatware, which is kind of what I want to get away from the iPhone stuff anyhow. But yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Jeff said I'm pretty sure the only person still uses single digits, but Doug's got you for a day. It sounds like, but no, knowing my friend Jeff, I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason why he's still on the single digits because A, he's practical and it still works, and that's probably why you're still there, right? And B, the price of an iPhone now is crazy. I hang out with the Androids. I hang out with the lower end ones. So I hang out with Motorola, which is like a Samsung is the high end Android. Samsung is like, the iPhone competitor 101. And Motorola is like the cheaper one. So, so no, I think Daniel Fisher says that that's his sixth. They have 6 podcast episodes in the book.
6. Okay, I thought he was saying he was rocking an iPhone 6. I was like, damn, that's even like a way or far back.
I don't know. Now he's gonna probably tell us what iPhone he's rocking.
Yeah.
But yeah, the iPhone thing, man, it's crazy. I'm just really surprised about it. So I think let's just jump into our guest here. Bring him on, we'll talk to him, and then we'll let him go a little bit early than we normally do, and then we could talk about our trips and what the hell was going on when we were away, while we were away, an extra week, all that kind of craziness. But so setting this up, we were supposed to take 1 week off, and you were going to go to Iceland and take 2 weeks off. In between then, I fell sick, and I didn't feel well enough to make the trip to Barrow and Flow, where I was going to meet Jared Fisher from Ailmatic, because he was on the docket, and the Ailmatic did a collaboration, which we're about to talk about, at Barrow and Flow. So since I didn't make Barrow and Flow and I did make the hospital, I never got out there to meet Jared. So Jared was supposed to be the guest last week, and we never had a stream last week because I was sick. So then I was like, Jared, I'm sorry, man, can you at least do next week? We were busy. Jared got back to me. I got back to him. We were crossing streams and all that. So I didn't really get to, talk to him. So today, before Jared's like, hey, man, I'm sorry it's late, but I'd still love to come on. And I'll be like, great, man. It's wonderful. We love our guests and all that. So this is why Jared ended up here today. We were supposed to have Rebecca and Carrie on their 10th anniversary, but those guys backed out late and said that they were going on a trip. And I knew it, too, when I called them out. I was like, I knew you were going to... It's cool. I still love them.
I wonder if they went to Iceland like we did.
I don't know. They're doing a mini trip, and I guess it was held off too because COVID and everything, and they didn't know what they were going to feel comfortable doing, what was going to be open. So I mean, COVID has so many things, up in the air. I'm also very glad that y'all were able to take your trip, be it during COVID, and have a fucking great trip from what I saw, the pictures, and we'll get to that later. But you all know how it was. Touch and go with the whole COVID and planning a vacation and all that. I see your eyes. So nothing against Carrie and Rebecca. If they want to go out on their 10th anniversary and have a good time, y'all go for sure. But so that was part of it too. So then it opened up for Jared to be here right now. And we're going to bring him on right now after I ran my mouth. And I guess I'm feeling good because I just didn't stop talking.
Welcome back, man.
So there we go with Jared. How you doing, Jared? How you doing?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. How you doing, Jared? It's good to see you, man.
Excellent.
Doing great. So we're just going to jump in right here. Tell us about Ailmatic. Tell us everything. I mean, being a brick and mortar black business, black brewery, you literally are less than the 1%. Like you're like 0.00, well, not 2 points, but 1 point and a couple zeros before we even get to the percentage of black brick and mortar owned brewery. So I know it's a big story, so we'll just let you talk because I talk too much.
So we kind of got the idea to get started. It was 2014, and it took until January of 2019 2019 to actually get the doors open. And so we're almost up to 3 years running now. And so we're a small tap room. We have a 6-barrel brewing system, pretty much sell everything on site. A few kegs out here and there. We do canning, but everything is up the door. So no real distro, or anything like that. But we kind of chose to go the route of the local tap room and build from there instead of going the contract route. Contract brewing is cool to get your beer far and wide really fast, but there's no money in it. And so, it's not like you can start contracting, do that for a couple of years and like stack up enough money to then go open a brick and mortar spot. You still at some point are going to have to find money and find investors or bank loans to get everything into a ultimate like brick and mortar, situation. And so, we started small. We did everything for probably about $250,000, which is extremely cheap in the beer world. We bootstrapped and built out everything. Me and one of my partners, we built the walls, everything by hand. Everything except for plumbing and electrical, we built. And so, and even in brewing equipment and stuff like that, a lot of the stuff that we bought the main pieces, but a lot of the other stuff, like, we pieced together, kind of piece by piece, and, produces the same result. May not be as pretty, but, we're making good beer. We're proud of what we're doing.
Amen. Real quick though, tell us where you're located, your physical location.
So we're in Huber Heights, Ohio, which is in the Dayton metro area.
The Flyers, Dayton Flyers, as I recall.
Flyers, yes.
One of the only Division I schools to send me a recruiting letter for basketball in high school.
I didn't get one.
In hindsight, I'm glad I didn't go there because I would have just sat on the bench the entire time. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What are you drinking? What's in your glass? Like we talked about, what are you having?
At the moment, I am drinking the Love Roller Coaster. That's the collab that we did for Barrel and Flow Fest with Bill Street Brewing out of Memphis, and we brewed it at Second Shift in St. Louis.
Yeah, we get some Second Shift here, and not much, but their stuff's pretty good too. So yeah, it's a pretty cool group of folks to be collabing with.
Yeah, we're originally, the way that everything got set up by the festival, we were going to do the collab directly with Bill Street, and they're contracting out of Lazy Magnolia right now in Mississippi. And because the beer was supposed to go to Tavor to be part of the festival pack, the state of Washington, which Tavor ships out of, had a bunch of issues with Bill Street not having a actual brewer's license. And so Lazy Magnolia said, well, we'll send it under our license. And the state of Washington was like, well, then we're going to need a year's worth of tax filings for this, and that. And Lazy Magnolia was like, yeah, nope, we're not doing all that. And so we had a relationship already with Second Shift. And so we reached out to them kind of last minute. Our collab almost got kicked out of the pack. And we reached out to them, and they were able to slide us into their schedule on like 2 weeks notice. And so we ran out there, got it done, and we made it.
Excellent. We got a question from our audience here. Is the 6-barrel system feeling small yet after 3 years?
It does. It's small in that when we started canning, it started feeling small. Because then we were shuffling between how much are we going to package off and how much are we going to put into kegs, just to serve on tap. And, when we first opened, we were expecting to be just this tap room space for several years. And then COVID hits literally a year after we opened. So at this point, we've operated longer under COVID than we have without COVID. And so packaging just become this big thing. And so we're putting more beer into packages. And so there's always that, back and forth between, okay, how much are we putting into cans? How much are we, putting on draft?
Oh, and we got this stuff. So then how many fermenters have you guys upped your fermenters so that you could brew more, I guess?
So right now we have a total of 8 fermenters. And they are all 5-barrel capacity. And so the system we bought is capable of 6. Really, we could brew up to 7 barrels, but we're limited at 5 batches on our tanks.
Excellent. So then tell us a little bit about Love Roller Coaster. It's a milkshake Indian Pale Ale. I haven't had it yet, but I did get the Tavor thing. That was one of the best things about this Barrel and Flow. And it was, when I realized I was going to miss it, I was completely devastated, to be honest with you. I still am. I'm not. There's just no other festival or atmosphere that you can just replicate it. It's just there's just nothing else like it. So, and after COVID and sitting at home and going through the digital one last year, I mean, this was my event. Like, with all due respect to the rest of the events that I will not make this year, that I normally make, Barrel and Flow was the one I needed to make, and I just was unable. But Tavor came through with y'all's beers, and I haven't had any Barrel and Flow beer yet. In fact, Doug, yesterday was my first beer after being in the hospital. So I really haven't really drank that much. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. But how did y'all end up with a milkshake IPA, and where did all that come from?
So we this is our second year doing the Tavor pack with Barrel and Flow. So last year when they did the Fresh Fest DigiFest, we collabed with a brewery out of Pittsburgh called 11th Hour, and so we did a black currant sour with them last year. And so when Dave from the festival hit us up this year, we wanted to do something different. And so we started talking with Kelvin at Bill Street and see kind of what he was thinking. And so the batches that he's running on his contracts are 30-barrel batches. And so at 30 barrels, we wanted to do something that was going to be really, popular. And IPAs, of course, are what, sell better than anything these days. And so decided to put a little twist on it. So we do a lot of milkshake IPAs. And so we proposed that to him. He was down with it. And so then we kind of went back and forth over the fruits and stuff like that, and settled on the strawberry and peach, and it turned out really good.
Damn good.
Now, was
good.
Was the milkshake IPA also part of taking it because of the time frame you had, because it was more compressed?
No, so that was the plan all along.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool.
So we had always planned to do the milkshake IPA. We had planned all that really probably back in April, May. And state of Washington didn't really throw all the issues into the pot until like the very beginning of June.
I'm glad to see you guys are able to recover out of that, though. That's good.
Yeah. And, that's, credit to Second Shift, because, they already have sent beer to Tavor, and so they had all the paperwork and stuff in order already, and they were kind enough to host us and at the last minute, and we got up at, we're about 5 hours from St. Louis, so we got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and drove out there to mash in at 9 a.m.
That had to be a very coffee heavy trip on your way.
It was very coffee heavy, and being in is my first time in St. Louis, and so we were only there for the 24 hours, going back the next day, so we had to try to see everything we could see, and so of course we ended up at Side Project, and anybody knows Side Project knows that they don't do anything hardly under like 12%. And then of course you run into random people at the bar who hear the story of why we're there, and now they want to buy us beers, and so it was a good day, but a long day with no sleep.
You got a question here?
Other than these, I need to find some Side Project beer apparently, because I love high gravity stuff. So that's like right up my alley.
Yeah. So real quick though, Jared, I'm getting the peaches and I'm getting the strawberry. It's fantastic. Clearly there's lactose in it, but this is drinking a little bit lighter than a normal milkshake for me. I don't know if that is that something that y'all went for?
No, not necessarily. So the fruiting levels and stuff like that is one of the things that is one of the ways that you gain body into like milkshakes and whatnot. And so with now the recipe that we use, it's I'd say fairly standard kind of New England hazy IPA base, but some people throw like more lactose into the milkshakes than what's in this one, and so that will add some more body. I like to stay on the kind of median range there, so you get the sweetness from it, but it's not necessarily like the star of the show.
Yeah, it's not overly thick. And again, I like the mouthfeel of a normal milkshake, but this it's a little bit lighter in my opinion, and I love that. It's great. So tell me about Barrel and Flow. It from what I saw, first of all, the footprint looked way bigger. Bigger. Looked like it was a bigger festival. And it looked like there's just the same old love. As I remember 2 years ago. Man, COVID. I was talking about this today with I had a follow-up appointment with my doctor, Doug, and I was talking to my doctor about, or one of the nurses, about how COVID has just fucked up how people, like, at least how I think about time. Because I'm like, man, I was at Barrel and Flow last year. No, you were at Barrel and Flow Fresh Fest 2 years ago, bro. you know what I mean? Like COVID kind of gives that, like, when you look back, like, it's almost like a year that you lost, but it's at the same time, it's like, in my opinion, it put on like double the years. You know what I mean? Like we aged like twice as much during COVID, all of us, but like it almost is like a year that didn't fucking happen because we just couldn't operate in that same manner, whether it be kids in school, whether it be our festivals, whether it be, y'all having people in your brewery for how fucking long you weren't able to do that. So So if I'm sorry if I say that I was at Barrel and Flow last year, I was, but it was over screen and it wasn't at a place. But so 2 years ago it was Fresh Fest, and now this year it was Barrel and Flow. What were the major differences? And am I wrong? Like, did we lose the love and the vibe that we had before?
No. So the vibe was there. So from 2019, the space was just way more, I'd say, compressed, because you kind of had that courtyard where the stage was and everything, and then you had all the breweries kind of surrounding that. And then we got in, we just opened at the beginning of 2019. And so we kind of got wind of the festival and came in late. And so we were inside. And so we kind of felt like, they stuck baby in the corner, but but, the festival, I would just say it was way more compressed in 2019. But this year, it was the footprint was massive. It was a good 10 to 15 minute walk from end to end.
Whoa,
and there was, part of that was spacing, but part of it too was just the way it was laid out. And it was honestly, I think, better because they literally took over a outdoor shopping area, and they had, multiple stages and, DJs, and there was just plenty of space for people to just spread out, walk around. And so it's hard to say if it was actually like if there was less attendance than before because it was just so big. I mean, there was people everywhere, but in 2019, it felt like people were just crawling all over each other. But there was tons of people this year, but it was still plenty of room for, people to spread out, walk around, and all that. I mean, more breweries than there were in 2019. And
what about the food?
Yeah.
The food was amazing in 2019.
So
I thought it was.
There were a lot of food trucks in 2019.
Right.
And this year, I don't think I saw one food truck. It was all people, vendors who they brought out the catering
canopy
stuff and canopy, and they were all cooking and prepping everything like inside their tents. And I didn't actually eat anything at the festival, but
you sound like me though, right?
I passed several things that looked really good.
Right, I feel that. I went late. Like I ate late at 2019, and it was too late. Like all the good food, Doug, was gone because I was just drinking beer, and you just get caught up, right, Jared?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You just get caught up in the beer and the people and everything walking around. And so, were there vendors too? Because I remember vendors there.
Oh yeah,
man. Man, Doug, you got to follow up.
No, I see. The thing is, I was supposed to go last year for COVID, and Greg's like, "Man, you got to go," and I was like, "All right, great." So I bought a ticket, and then COVID, so we didn't go. I actually had stuff to do that weekend at the Barrel Flow was in, so I couldn't even do the virtual part. So I was bummed about, and the Tavour stuff. I live in New York State, and for some reason, Tavour doesn't deliver here.
We had the same issue here because when we did the collab pack last year, so we did have Tavour delivery in Ohio, and the week before they put it on, the state of Ohio came in and they were like, "Nope, can't ship here anymore." And so, in order for us, so we did the collab last year with 11th Hour in Pittsburgh, and it was a virtual kind of collab because we were like right in the thick of the pandemic. So we had not actually had the beer that we collabed on, but we were going to get it through Tavour, and we couldn't get it. So one of my partners, his girlfriend's got family in Indiana, so we had to send the beer to Indiana and then drive it over. So
yeah, the this year the Barrel and Flow pack I had sent to my parents in Pennsylvania so that I could just, when I go down there, I'll pick it up when I go down there. And they're 3 hours away, so it's not like I could just drive over and.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, I'm coming down.
So you actually did order it, Doug?
I did, but I had to order it and have it sent to the middle of rural Pennsylvania.
So you still don't you got it, but you don't have it in your possessions.
That is correct. Well, actually, it's not even at my parents yet. It's scheduled to be delivered like.
Oh, okay. You got the last. Yeah. Okay.
I purchased it before we went away, and just now it's getting shipped. So.
Okay, that's great. Great.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so you're gonna get it. Great. Wonderful. Doug, I think you're gonna like this one because this isn't. So Jared, you know, little what do you call it? Inside ball here. Doug's not really well. He's growing, but he's not really an IPA drinker at heart, and he doesn't like the bitter, big, crazy, triple double IPAs that I love. He likes the more subtle, fruity. So this will be up his alley for sure because this is a fruity one. It's not too bitter. It's really approachable if you're looking for. I don't I don't want to label this, but this is more of a fruit beer to me than it is an IPA. I mean, again, I get the bitterness, but the fruit is just so nice in this, man. If you like the combination of peach and strawberry, because when I first the nose is just amazing, man. I almost get a peach creamsicle smell out of the nose, which is really fantastic. But the fruit on this is great balance, fantastic.
Yeah, and a lot of that fruit character is coming from the hops as well. And so, you know, we went with El Dorado and Mosaic in this, and so a lot of those. Especially like for me, El Dorado really gives you a lot of those like kind of like peach creamy, like those like peach rings, like the gummy candies.
Yep.
You know, and so it plays really well with the actual fruit in there.
Yeah, Greg is right. I'm not generally an IPA fan. Since we started this show, I started drinking more of them because I wanted to be able to, like, he was enjoying them so much, I wanted to try them, and I found that like there's certain ones like I don't mind New England style IPAs. Milkshake IPAs are good. Hazies once in a while. I just don't want like the ones that are like real hoppy palate wreckers. Those are the ones that I don't like. So
pass them over to me and we're cool.
Absolutely.
Well, see, I think that's one of those things though where, you know, when I first got into craft beer, that was like West Coast IPA was like what IPA was. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I think I remember when like Sierra Nevada Torpedo started drinking that beer and I hated it, but I kept drinking it because I wanted to look cool. And so, you know, eventually your palate, you know, just adjusts to it. And then you're like, what hops?
Sure.
What IBUs?
Sure. So that sounds like I was going to follow up, Doug. Unless you have a question, I was just going to follow up because now we're at the origin of like where did you find craft beer and how did that all work out? We talked about how you found your brewery. How did you find craft beer as a black man who, again, none of this is like pointed towards us. It's pointed to, with all due respect, white boys all day long. We've even had something. Doug, I don't know if you saw there was a little dust up in the Daddy Porter group about
that's hot.
Yeah. About Jared, you probably saw it. Or you're not in the group, but you probably saw this meme before, which it say pumpkin beers are what's it say, Doug? Or
are like no, it's like the was the pumpkin spice lattes are the IPAs or something like it was like
white boys or something.
For white boys or something like that.
right. For basic white boys. And then we had two white boys fighting over it. So then
I was not one of them, just for the record.
So yeah, how does a black man like you in Ohio find craft beer?
So my dad is probably the biggest way that I fell into it. So he always drank these at the time what I thought were like weird beers. And so yeah, he always liked the saisons and things like that. And so like I grew up in a house where, you know, there was no like Bud Light or anything like that in the fridge. It was like Spade and Optimator in there and, you know, and stuff like that. And so occasionally,
okay,
but for the most part, you know, he was drinking Belgian beers, you know, mostly, you know, saisons, you know, whatnot, and then we'd see a lot of like Sierra Pale Ale and stuff like that. And so,
right,
when I was in high school, he started homebrewing, And so that's
Damn.
that's really where I learned how to make beer, and which kind of set this whole thing into motion.
Emotion.
But I still at the time only knew craft beer to be like those kind of Belgian beers, which I didn't really love. And fast forward to when I was in college, then I started hanging out with the white boys and going to the craft beer bar behind the job because I used to work at Sears. And so we would go to this bar behind the store, and they had they had like 30 taps. And so I went in there one night with these guys, and I got a Sierra Nevada, not Sierra Nevada, a Sam Adams cherry wheat. And that beer, which weirdly I find disgusting today, was what kind of changed everything for me, because it rewrote what I thought beer could be. And so from there, we just kept going to this bar and exploring all these different taps and stuff that they had. And I realized that beer was so complex, and there were so many different styles, and it could be all these different things. And, eventually, your palate just kind of settles in where it finds what it likes, and, and you just kind of grow from there. And so now, I don't know that I have a favorite style of beer at this point. Because I really do like everything. And we brew a little bit of everything. We typically have anywhere from like 15 to 20 beers on tap at a time. And like they span everything from light lagers up to, barrel aged imperial stouts. We have hazy IPAs, West Coast IPAs. We do a lot of fruited sours.
We got a crack here. We got a crack here. Yeah. Oh, a porter dog. Look at that.
Yeah.
So porter's actually one of our two core beers. So the porter, which is an anomaly because it's called Brick City Porter, which Huber Heights, the suburb that we're in, is called the Brick City. It's supposedly like the largest community of brick homes in America. And that is the only beer that we have that is not a song name. Every other beer that we have is a song name.
Okay. All right.
Now, what's the coffee one down there? I saw that was below.
So the coffee beer is Hey Joe.
Oh, here we go.
That's a coffee stout. So that we do. So with that beer, we it's on almost all the time. But every time we brew it, we use a different roast from a different local coffee roaster, and so the coffee changes in the beer constantly.
Do you have any local black-owned roasters near you that you can use?
Not super local. So we have one in Columbus, which is about an hour away from us, and we did a beer, which it wasn't the Hey Joe, but we did a barrel aged milk stout that we used their beer in.
Nice. Man, so we're gonna get you out of here, Jared. It was really nice talking to you, but before we let you go, I would like to hear, so how did y'all, just I guess it's short, I guess it's not a short answer, but so you started your brewery, you had a decent, or I would say, you had a year, and then COVID hit. And is there anything out of COVID and the pandemic that y'all changed about your brewery that you're going to use going forward? I see y'all still doing curbside, and that to me is awesome, because I still believe that there's times where I don't feel comfortable going in. Like if I would drive by your brewery and I could look in and I see a full bar, I'm like, I don't know, maybe I just want, like a couple Sixers.
Yeah.
And if Jared brings it out to me and puts it in my trunk, and I can get home on a Friday night and get over here to talk to Doug, that would be great. So yeah, is there anything that the pandemic taught you guys that maybe refined you? Maybe you'll be better off. Maybe you'll be a better brewer going forward.
I think more than anything, and maybe not even so much just as a brewery, but just as business in general, just to stay nimble and be ready to pivot and change like whatever comes, because we were doing we didn't even have like cans or anything to go until November of 2019, and so when
oh wow, okay.
and then so when March came and we got shut down by the state, then we were at least able to quickly get a website up. And so we were shut down on a Sunday. We're closed Monday and Tuesday anyways. And by Wednesday, we had a website up ready to take, orders and stuff like that to go. And so that was one of the biggest things that, we learned was that, you always have to be able to, pivot and change. Like why we didn't have beer to go online before. Oh no, no one did. No one around us did.
Right.
But
right.
It only makes sense. And so, that's
right.
one of those things that's definitely going to stay, going forward. And, even though we're, things are better, we took a long time to reopen our bar. We had, even when we were able to bring people back into the brewery, our bar was closed down for several months. And it's only been a few months really that we've allowed people to sit at the bar again. But then just this week, I lost 3 bartenders because, one of them tested positive and then trickled into 2 more. And so, it's just one of those things just to, remind you that, we're not out of the woods yet. And so,
right.
And especially when, we got people, who, were vaccinated where that was supposed to be the, the key, and, they're still testing positive. And so, it's still one of those things, but, it's complicated. But the nice thing for us, like I said, is at this point, we know more about how to operate under COVID than we do about how to operate without it. And so, because we were babies when we got thrown into it. And so, I think more than anything, once the world goes back to whatever normal is, then, we'll just basically be a little bit more like, battle hardened, to, be able to, conquer whatever challenges and things like get thrown at us next. Because I can't think of a bigger one than, what we saw last year.
Right. Do y'all do variety packs? You could call them mixtapes.
So we are all about choice. And so even like on flights and stuff like that, we don't have flights. You can get every beer on tap and a 4-ounce pour, so you can make your own mixtape.
Yes, I saw that, and I wanted to thank you for bringing that up because I thought that was amazing. You can get 4 ounces and you can get 8 ounces, and I love that because again, I'm that guy, Jared. I don't know if you follow me or but I'm that guy. I only want like 4 ounces of your beer because I want to taste them all. I want to try your whole menu. And if I try a pint of your whole menu, you're going to be not liking me because I'll be over in the corner and you'll have to shovel me up or something or do something. It's going to be a mess. So, so the fact that you offer those small beers and not in a flight way, I think is a way that we all need to go forward, actually. I love flights. Don't get me wrong. I'm the flight guy. Everybody knows it. It's the truth. But at the same time, sometimes, flights are limiting, actually. If you only get 4 or you can only get 8, Doug and I roll in sometimes. Sometimes Doug and I, especially, we've rolled once or twice together. But if we rolled a lot together, we'd be in these places trying all these different things. And, Doug, you get those 4 and I'll get those 4. And then, like, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll share
you get those 5 and I'll get those Right. And I know Doug's vaccinated, and I know he doesn't have any STDs, so I can drink out of his glasses. Or maybe, I don't know. Look at Doug, you get around. I'm not sure what the hell goes on.
Yeah, I get around with the same woman for 10 years.
I know,
really
but I'm not. I still don't know what the hell's going on. Anyway, Jared, one last question. I said the last one was the last, didn't I, Doug? But now I'm going to go one last. Black is beautiful. I have to address that.
Yes.
What did y'all do, and how did that work out for you?
So we did a imperial stout, and it had a lot of things in it. The original idea was to make a like chocolate donut stout, and it was a beer that there's a local donut shop in Dayton that is like really popular. So like anybody who comes to town, they show up, they got to go to this donut shop. So we got some chocolate donuts from them.
What's it called? What's the donut shop called? We're gonna give them a shout out.
Bill's.
Okay.
And so we put these donuts in this beer, and
a donut beer.
The way we did it just didn't work out. It did not taste the way we wanted it to. So then we decided we needed to add more stuff. So we ended up with a beer that had coffee, the chocolate donuts, cocoa nibs, cinnamon, and vanilla. And so that ended up being the final beer for the Black is Beautiful beer. And all those ingredients later, it was delicious.
Right. All right. Doug and
being nimble. See?
Right. And Doug and I don't bullshit here. If it tastes good, we don't care. But we will look at it crazy though, like a stout with donuts, cocoa nibs, cinnamon. We'll be like, what? But we'll be the first ones to be trying it, right, Doug?
So we put, I mean, it's not abnormal for us to throw a lot of stuff in beer. Like I'm drinking this collab we did with another local brewery here. So it is called This Shit Is Bananas, and it is it's a Berliner Weiss, but it's got banana, strawberry, peanuts, coconut, and chocolate in it.
Okay,
that sounds totally up my alley. By the way, because I will try shit with like 15 ingredients in it. I don't care. They can throw everything. Oh, cool. Let me just try all this shit, and I'll drink it all.
Yeah. So
does it work though? As long as
it works. It works. It is. It is a very complex beer, and it has, as it warms up, it adds more flavors and things like that. So it's fun to play around with all these different flavors and things like that.
Excellent. Jared, thanks for your time. I'm gonna hit you on the side. I have a collab thing that I'm trying to do, so I'm gonna hit you on the side and see if you're interested.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that on the side. I want to thank you for your persistence with me. Working with us through this whole nonsense that we've been going through. And I want to just thank you for being around and letting everybody know what's up with Ailmatic and everything that went with Barrel and Flow.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, thanks,
Jared. We'll talk to you soon. I can't wait till next year's Barrel and Flow. We can meet in person. I can try your beers. It's gonna be fun. And you are really one of the closest Black-owned breweries to me. So you are on my radar as far as me trying to get on a road trip. I'm in Madison, Wisconsin, so you're only about 6 hours away. It ain't that far.
That's a day trip.
Yeah, you're on my radar, man. You guys are on my radar. It's no bullshit. So I hope to see you soon. In person.
Ohio has there are 4 brick and mortar Black-owned breweries in Ohio.
4, you, Black Frog, and who are the other 2? Oh, we got one in Cincinnati.
Actually, I'm sorry, there's 5. There's 2 in Cincinnati. There is Esoteric in Cincinnati, and there's another one called Cincy Brewing Company.
Cincy Brewing Company. I haven't heard of that one. Okay.
Yeah, and then there's one in Columbus, Crafted Culture.
Crafted culture. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Man. Okay.
Yeah, so
Man,
Ohio, Ohio
Our-
is where it's going on.
Yeah, you know our friend Brandon. You know Brandon Montgomery, right? Are you
Yeah,
familiar
Blackbeard
with him?
Traveler.
Yes.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
He put out something like I've been to 10 black-owned black breweries. I'm like, oh, this is a challenge.
But
so,
he hasn't been to Ohio, so
right. So I'm gonna
you
do
can
that.
hit 5 in Ohio.
I'm gonna do that loop, man. I gotta catch up to him because he's way ahead of me. So, yeah. Thanks, Jared. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, thanks for having me on.
Excellent. Man,
that was good,
fun.
man.
Yeah, it was, and I wish I would have been able to meet him. That would have been great. But so now, Doug, you want to do your second, and then we have another guest
Jumping
here
on
for y'all.
Yeah. So mine is
Stay tuned.
actually not my second one. Here is not a beer; it's a cocktail.
Really?
Gonna do the King and Cola.
Oh,
Pumpkin.
oh, wait! It says pumpkin. So is there pumpkin in that shit?
It's pumpkin whiskey and cola because they make a whiskey.
A pumpkin whiskey.
Yeah, they make a s'more one. They make a cinnamon one. Whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I'm doing it in a cocktail glass.
So Lauren came late, and she didn't know what the hell was going on. Oh, and I got rid of that stupid. So you
anyway,
open that and yeah.
So this is the pumpkin whiskey is like, it's like, it's just like, okay, well, pumpkin flavored whiskey, which whatever. And you were like cola, and you're just like, it's not gonna. Yeah, it works really great together. 8% ABV though, so tread lightly.
Wow. And I don't know, you just poured it out and it works, and
yeah, it's just like, looks like a freaking rum and coke or a whiskey and soda. Like that's what it looks like,
Wow. Okay.
Excellent though. They only come in 4-packs. And here the 4-packs were like $16 or $17 because they're cocktails. So
that's not too bad.
Yeah, you could probably get the individual ones, like when you were here and you bought the individual ones that were like,
that's what I would do.
Because they make a line of cocktails. This is just their specialty one because pumpkin is out. But yeah,
you know me.
Mm-hmm.
So Lauren, this is what we were talking about before. So all these crazy people, Lauren. This is China, and they're all running for the new iPhone, whatever. What number is it? I don't even know. I have no idea. 12, 15, 17. It doesn't really matter to me. I don't know. But that's what the craziness was about, Lauren. They're just and they're flooding this, and we're just like, wow, it's pretty crazy. So before we bring on our wonderful next guest, we're going to wait. There's some comments here that I had and that we lost. I don't know, whatever. Manny says that, Greg, I just wanted to say you don't look dead, and I appreciate that about you.
Mm-hmm. We all appreciate that.
Manny has a way of saying things. It's great. Indian Pale Ales are the bane of his existence. And then Daniel says, I thought you wrote Bane. I probably would have, but after this comment. Then we had two white boys fighting over it. Yes, we did. Let's see here. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest that y'all should know by now. Where let me get this white boy comment off. Okay. Let's get the white boy comment off before we bring in our guest. Without further ado, we didn't tell anybody about this. It's been a big secret. Y'all know who he is, though. It's a big secret. Y'all know who he is if y'all haven't. If y'all seen the stream here and there, it's our friend, one and only Jerry Richard.
Hello.
What's up, Jerry? How you doing?
What's up, Jerry, man?
What's going on?
How you doing?
The busy
I had to get rid of that white boy comment before we threw you up on the screen there. Right. What did I just walk into? JC, I'm not.
JC, you missed me drinking your beer earlier. That's what you missed.
Yeah, woo, Jerry, what's going on? Jerry. Well, not that Jerry, right? But I don't know. It's not like Jerry with the fresh cut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny because now we're actually getting cooler temperatures here in Texas. So
whoa. Let's hold off with the cooler temperatures thing.
No, there's like for real cooler temperatures, like for true, not that like, oh, it's cool, it's in the 90s. No. We're actually getting like lows in like
the 70s.
No, lows 59 in the mornings. Right
that
now.
is cool.
Okay.
So I'll take it. Yeah, I feel like I brought a little bit of Pittsburgh home. So
right. Kyle's apologizing for being that white boy. Okay. We accept, right, Doug?
No. Yeah. As long as you keep posting those cool ass photos of your like hot rod thingy that you have going in the garage with your beers, because those are always cool.
They are, absolutely, and we need to have Kyle on to talk about that. Sure. One of these Fridays for sure. But Jerry, what's going on? What's in the glass? How you been?
All that. So really, I'm going to be rocking. I have a crowler of Schwartz beer from Oak Cliff Brewing.
Schwartz beer.
So time for a little Oak Cliff Brewing there, and I'm pretty much going to be rocking that for the remainder of the show. But
Schwartz beer is such a good style too.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it is. And I saw in my Barrel and Flow package. There were a bunch of dark lagers, which I found very, very not only interesting but wonderful. So that's a great segue to how was Barrel and Flow, man? That's why we got you on. I wasn't able to make it, so unfortunately, I had two guests to talk about it because I'm just super excited for y'all to fill me in and give me what I didn't get out of there.
A huge shout out to Dave Bracey and Kat Bruno and the full team that put everything together. I mean, they really did a great job and getting everything going for Barrel and Flow. I mean, it's just one of those situations where, one, they were taking the pandemic seriously. So you had, the asks for masks. Our meetings were all in the hotel. And so the ask for masks, when we were going into the meetings, checking for the check of vaccination cards, that was a thing, to make sure that people had their cards and everything like that. And even for the outdoor festival, having the rapid testing so that people could actually get a rapid test before they went in. I really appreciate that level of care from the group. And so that was great. I traveled.
Yeah, they weren't playing.
No,
Bracey wasn't playing online. Like just by responses and all that. Right, and it followed through. Right. So that's cool because you can tell by just being online, like you can tell by just seeing it online that they weren't playing. So you're saying they weren't playing on the ground, is what you're saying?
Absolutely not. They really wanted to, make sure that people were, taking things seriously because it's a thing. And I will say, even before I got to Pittsburgh, right? So the one thing that I was a little concerned about was my flight, because I just wanted to make sure that everybody was doing right. I didn't want to have any situations, watching too many videos here on Brothers and Booze.
Fucking Greg.
Oh, I got one for you.
No.
Hold on.
Oh no.
What the hell is this?
Airing out the skivvies.
Sorry, I had to throw that in. It was a perfect segue. Sorry.
He was airing out, or they. I don't know the gender of the person, but they were airing out.
I'm pretty sure that's a female. I could be wrong.
Can I also say that people that take their shoes off on planes, that shit's gross too. Leave your shoes.
No, absolutely, but
that shit's gross too. Not as gross as airing your skivvies into the air.
Because
that's where
your shoes, your feet is one thing. And Lord help if anybody smells them. But I mean, you're like, their feet are down below. She had the unmitigated gall to raise those things up near the thing to make sure they got the perfect breeze. And I'm like,
Right. I'm sorry, Jerry. Finish your. Now you got to finish what you were talking about. And I was a rude asshole.
Because I had nothing like that. I had no situations. People like me were like, going, okay, let's just get there, and let's get up on the ground. We're good. So I had no issues going there and back. So right, Lauren. I'm going, what's going on here?
Y'all act like you never tried to dry your piss pants on an airplane.
I will say too, when we flew, that was a big concern for my wife. She was a little worried we were going to have one of those freaking episodes like on the plane or in the airport. And because we were flying internationally and we were kind of in our own terminal, like we were, and everybody, we had no issues, none. It was. Now I will say that I like how that Barrel Flow is doing stuff with make sure your card, here's a rapid test. Like having all that stuff handy is really smart, and it's really how you should organize stuff. And what's interesting about that to me is, and this is a little sidebar, but when we were getting ready to go, we had to have a test available saying we were negative within 72 hours. Mm-hmm. Where we are, rapid tests are like there's a shortage of them. Mm-hmm. And then the problem is because of sure then people are taking the PCR tests, which are the ones that usually they're supposed to take a day or two.
Right.
My wife didn't get her results till 5 days later for that. I didn't get an email. So we had to go an hour to a rapid test place to get a rapid test. And then conversely, we get into Iceland and rapid tests are readily available like in multiple places. It's such a weird. Iceland is this tiny country, and they have it organized way better than we do. It's unbelievable.
I know. I absolutely agree. There are other countries where rapid tests are readily available, and here we should have them. I mean, if we're serious about, ending things, if we're serious about people, taking, whether they're COVID positive or not seriously, I remember going into a drugstore and there were bunches of them. And I went back like a day or so later and they were all gone. And of course, the main fear I had was like a bunch of people like taking them and trying to sell them online and hiking the prices up. And I'm like, going, see, we're not serious. That's just not, we can't keep doing this.
Yay, capitalism.
Yeah, Doug, man, I was warning you, or I was trying to warn you months about these. I told you that's what I was fearing the most about your trip. Was you dealing with a Karen or some crazy dude on the plane, or somebody like have y'all on the tarmac for like 6 hours because they don't want to get off, or having a police storm. And then Jerry, you were right too, because you were watching the stream and I had some kind of airplane nonsense on. You're like, how is this going to make me feel, y'all? I'm getting on a plane. Like, this ain't cool. You said in the comments, and I'm like, I feel you, man. I feel everybody who's doing it on a plane. That's why I was trying to drive to Barrel and Flow too, for the record. Is because at least I could control that little part of the but at the same time though, Jerry, like, I said too, I think like the airports are the most dangerous place and the most safe place. Safe because they at least demanded that y'all wear masks and you know what I mean, like keep them on, and they were at least throwing people off who weren't going to do that. And like that's the feel that I got from Bracy online, where Baron Flo was like, look, motherfuckers, and he might have even said those words.
He probably
like,
did.
Yeah, because he was like, he was not having any vaccine, any mask, any kind of nonsense. He's like, look, well, you don't like science, great, don't come to our event. Like, and I was like, whoa, okay, like, right. We don't need you. We got enough people who understand and really, really, have this understanding that, we're all in this together. And if we all be safe, then we all can be safe and have a good time. So yes, shout out to Bracy. I mean, again, he showed his true colors during that. To be honest with you, like he really did. Like some people show their true colors and it's not good colors. That man really, I don't know. So you're
And
saying that went through to the whole, yeah. And Doug and I cut you off, so I want you to finish your point about how that went through the whole festival.
it did. It went through the whole thing, and no one was like, at least the encounters I witnessed, I didn't see anyone like really giving any heat about it. You know, it was really more like, look, this is just what we're asking people to do when they go into the sittings. And of course, you know, you have beer in there too. So, you know, I've been beering and then masking if I'm not drinking or anything like that. I mean, it's just really all about care, you know, and I think they did a very good job. And I understand too that there are people who may have artificial cards, because that's a thing. You know, people can buy cards and whatever. And they weren't going that level because that would have been a whole nother thing. Somebody checking to see if it's an actual card or not. But just the fact that they asked for it, you know, and we saw people online saying, okay, well, you know, you're not, I was going to go and now I'm not going to go. Again,
Right.
most of those people were probably not even going to go anyway. Just want to kind of get into a conversation and start some stuff. So whatever.
Mhm.
But it was a great time. The seminars went really well. The footprint of the festival, right? So Greg, you and I were there in 2019, and that was already pretty sizable there with Fresh Fest. This was a lot wider, and it was just a lot of other vendors and other people, more collabs going on, and so it was a good walk going on around all these particular places and stuff like that. But I had a great time, and I will say, shout out to the DigiFest in 2020, because it was the DigiFest that actually made me pay more attention to the musical acts that were going on, and so it actually made me more interested to check out the music here in 2021. So I would definitely say that if people are, you know, feeling there's no value in a virtual fest, I would definitely poo-poo that and say, look, a virtual fest can be very fun. I know that it's not the same as when you're meeting people out and about and face to face, but you can actually discover some aspects of a festival that maybe you miss. Because I know in 2019, I was so excited about trying the different beers that I really wasn't paying attention to the different musical acts. And this year, I was actually paying attention to both and hanging out with some friends to do that.
I think that lady on the plane was also poo-pooing things.
So, y'all some good looking fools. Thanks, DJ King.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, everybody. That's the dad joke part of me that I can't get rid of.
I mean, thankfully we did not see any streaks. I mean, I'm just like going, you know what? I'd have been so upset. Like going, why are there streaky underwear in the ceiling? I'm done. Poo-pourri, for sure.
So I got a question for y'all. Do y'all understand this class? I struggle with this type of glass. I mean, you've seen these, right?
Wasn't that somebody posted that's like the new, like one of the new stout glasses or something like that they're talking about?
Yeah, I think it's a new stout glass. I got it from my boys. Got one too. I got it from my boys, Venture Brewing. Love them. We can talk about that in a bit. But I struggle because I just don't want to use it as a stout glass. I want to use it as I don't want to just you know what I mean? I like it as a lower ABV glass. I don't know. But this is a stout. So I struggle with it because again, I'm supposed to use it for a stout glass and I don't. I'm about to put this. Jerry, you probably had this one.
I've not had mine yet. I haven't gone through all of my beers from Tabor. There was sometimes I had a lot of the beers there, and
right. That's what I'm saying. Right, I'm saying that you probably had it at the festival because I made sure.
I have not. I did not get a chance to try that at the festival. See what I'm saying? That was such a big. There were a lot of other beers I got a chance to try that weren't in the pack. So
gotcha. Okay, cool, gotcha. And that's what Jared said too. I don't know if you were around for that, but he said that you said that it was so big that it was cool and it was great. Don't get me wrong, but it was just like a sea change from 19.
For sure.
Jared didn't have any food. Did you have the food?
I had a VIP ticket, so I just had some of the food that was actually in the booth because I was trying to I really wasn't trying to get full on food. I was okay. Let me try these beers, water, beers. Water,
yes,
beers.
yes. Was I forgot to ask Jared. Was Garrett Oliver there?
I did not see him. No.
Okay.
He may have been there, but I did not see him.
So I would say no, because I didn't see anything from him. So that's interesting. Because I wanted to.
Well, it was an interesting weekend. You had craft beer conference, which is usually held at a different time of the year on the same weekend,
yeah.
And so that took a few people out. I know, Marcus with Weathered Souls was at CBC because he was doing a collab beer with Weldworks, and he was also doing some things at CBC. So he wasn't able to be there. Shout out to Crowns and Hops though, because I will say that Benny was there. Benny was there that Saturday. Teo was there Friday. He was at CBC Friday, and he was at Brow and Flow Saturday. So
damn.
They were like, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna be in that mix.
Right.
But yeah, and that's unusual. Hopefully next year we won't have that thing stacked on top of each other like that. We'll have CBC at a separate time of the year, which it usually is supposed to be, and then GBF at its separate time, and then Barrel and Flow will do its thing, and Blacktober, that type of thing. So,
Lauren answered. Do other people not get munchies and want to snack on everything when you're drinking beers?
Oh, and no, absolutely, Lauren. I'm totally. I'm all about The key though is that because I'm so determined to try, especially at a festival, right? I'm determined to try the different beers. I want to, and I'm literally getting small tastes. Some people are trying to give me these heavy pours. I'm going, no, I can't.
Yeah, right.
You're going from 5%,
right,
to 10% to 7% to 15%. I'm going, you know what? Just give me a taste. I just want to taste a little bit of it, and then I'll get to a point where I need some water. Now I need some food, and so I'll just kind of get a little bit of food. But I just didn't want to get filled up on food, and then okay, I'm done. I can't get into.
Yeah, there's sort of a festival mindset when you're at those things for me, where it's I'm just going to try all the beer, and then I try to drink as much water as I can, and then at the end I will probably just eat 5 meals. But
right. Right. Kind of like Daniel. Yep. He's hungry again. He's really not trying to order second day.
Hey, remember the time Daniel ordered a burger while we were on the show?
Yeah.
he wasn't on the show. He's like, I'm going to order a burger. Then he's like, I got my burger. We're like,
it wasn't cool though. It wasn't cool because I didn't get to order.
God damn it. Now I want a burger.
Wait, did Daniel eat it on the show? Did he enjoy the burger while on the show?
No, he was sitting in the comments talking about how good it was. Which is almost worse, Jerry. I don't even want to hear about your damn burger. You didn't order me one, and too, Daniel Fisher. I don't know if you know for sure, Jerry, but he's from New York, so he has the best. That's one of the best things about New York, from what I know, is that they just have all these different restaurants. I mean, again, this is pre-COVID, I would assume, but even post-COVID, I'm sure they have. A plethora of places compared to me out in the boonies here, Doug out where he's at. Doug probably has 5 or 6 places. I have 1 or 2, and Daniel probably has man, right. Sorry, y'all. We can all eat late night burgers and make 2,000. Yes. So, Jerry, I was listening to one of your latest podcasts this week, and you had mentioned that you never been to New York.
No.
We are still
talking
talking
about too. I mean, because we were talking about. I think that was one of the trips. I was going, oh man, I've actually never been. I have many friends there now, but I've never been.
Right. We're still booked to do a New York City brewery tour, May 2020. So we want to bring you on if you want to come, and it could be your time to come to New York. We could talk about it. It'd be great. We'd love to have you, Doug. we were trying to do it, Doug. Actually, we're gonna try to get Doug and his wife to come and to hang out. So we're all gonna try to do that. We're gonna as the fall wanes and hopefully at some point the pandemic wanes. I have hope. I'm not sure. I have hope. We can start planning our May 2020 trip, and Daniel's going to show us all the great breweries there, and he's going to show us these late night burger places. God,
man, that guy knows. He knows where everything is. Like,
right.
That's who I want to be with. I want to be with the person who knows all.
Who knows everything, right?
Like, okay,
exactly.
where they? No, not the touristy spots. Where those good spots?
Right.
I want to know that.
But the late night munchies, man, that is such an underrated thing. You get like I drink all day, and like that's why like what you were saying resonates with me a lot, Jerry. Which is and what Doug was saying too, which is I go out and I'm there for the beer generally at a beer festival because it's just hit or miss, and you can't really. There's really no chance that you're going to be able to try these collabs again or to have this availability to this beer. But at the same time with Barrel and Flow, the problem is the same thing with food. Like the food is just really, really good, and you don't have that access. So you almost have to take one or the other, is how I say it. And I just took the beer route last Barrel and Flow, and then afterwards I'm like, look, we'll all drink beer all day, and then let's just go out for a good dinner, or let's just go back to the hotel room and order a really, really good pizza or something. And Daniel's going to be awesome at that, because then if we just settle for not a good dinner, he can bring us into some good munchies, is what I'm saying.
See, if you are like GBF, where you have like 1 or 2 or 3 days of it, yes, you can kind of go the route of, okay, I'm going to make beer my focus this time.
Right.
I'm going to make specialty foods my focus this time. But when you only have 1 day of it, you're like, okay, you're right. Or like when I go to the Rare Beer Festival in Denver, I don't know when I'm going to be able to try these beers again. And I know after 2018, when I went to the Denver Rare Beer Festival, I said, okay, now I'm hungry. I went to the McDonald's. I said, you know what? I could get better food around here, but I'm going to just get some McDonald's right now.
And it's cheaper.
Was I at the 2018 Rare Barrel Fest? I was at it one of these years. Okay. Man, I wonder if that's a great festival too.
It is.
Boy, but they had food at the one that I went to. They didn't have food at the one you went to?
I mean, I'm sure they did. Again, I was really
concentrated on beer. Gotcha.
You know, I mean, it's a,
you got to get in the line for that Utopias, right?
or
whatever.
The Utopias at GABF, and then they have that's where that's where I first met Garrett Oliver at the Denver Rare Beer Festival.
Yes, me too. Mm-hmm. Yes, me too. We were, man, I don't think we were at the same place crossing. I don't know if that, wow. It's a small world. So real quick though, I had this table beer, Belgian style. Who is this a collaboration of? Wow, it looks like 4 people that I can't even read here. So this is a table beer. I don't know if people are familiar with that. It's only 5%. A table beer is a low ABV. This is specifically a Belgian one. The thing that pops off at me on this one, and again, Jerry, I think you said you didn't have it yet, or you don't remember. This is strong Belgian character. I was looking for something, especially with the ABV being low. I was looking for a subtle Belgian character. It has strong Belgian character. So if you like Belgian character, that yeast, it's a really, really good one. I like it. Don't get me wrong. I was expecting it to be a little bit tamer, but it's a big flavor. It's pretty damn good, especially for a low ABV. Some of those low ABV, you see the low ABV, and you're like, you know what I mean? You get that thing in your head what you think it's going to be. And a lot of them now are packing a punch flavor-wise.
True.
And that's a good thing, not a bad thing.
The lowest ABV I saw at Barrel and Flow was a beer called Pleximentary Rhythm. And it was actually a collab between Dancing Gnome and the band Ghost Note, who ended the festival on Saturday night. Okay. It was what they called it was a petite pale ale, petite pale ale. So basically, it was only like 3.8%, but it was very flavorful. I'm like, going that it tastes bigger, a little bit bigger than I Seeing it, but yeah, it was 3.8%.
Yeah, Manny. So the rare beer festival, happens during the week of GABF. I think it's like the Thursday it happened, and then GABF starts Friday or Saturday or something like that. Or no, maybe it's a Thursday, and then the GABF starts at night. Because I remember what happened, Jerry, when I went. There were people who went to the Rare Beer Barrel Fest, and then they went to the session of the GABF that night, and I was like, y'all motherfuckers are crazy. And the reason is, Doug, is because at the Rare Barrel Fest or the Rare Beer Fest, like all these beers, most of them are not most, a lot of them are like big stouts.
Yes.
Huge.
Absolutely.
And like, so you're drinking big stouts and like sours too, Jerry. When I went, it was sours and like big stouts.
So I have to be careful doing
the sours. Yeah, and the sours were, the sours weren't, against generally, we all know sours aren't big ABVs, but these big stouts were. And I didn't stumble out of the Rare Beer Fest. I might as well have stumbled out of the Rare Beer Fest. Like, I stumbled to my Uber, and that stumbled me back to where I was at. That's exactly what I did. And then I remember, if I recall correctly, I ordered food in, and I just chilled. And then the next day I went to the GABF. But these motherfuckers were out here trying to go to the GABF right after that, and I was like, y'all crazy. And I was just alone too. So like, if I was with y'all and everybody was doing it, then I would have did it. If that makes sense. But I was alone, so I'm like, I'm not even trying to like be idiotic. On top of my palate was done, Jerry. Like, how are you tasting any beers after like you had like you spent 4 hours drinking all these big ass stouts, Doug? At some point, your palate is just not. It's just not worthy, really, of going to the GABF, really, because you're not going to be able to like
discern stuff, right?
saying? Yeah, what are you saying, Jerry? I know you're laughing. So what do you got?
No, what you just said, as far as your palate. I totally understand. Your palate's blown, and I think, Greg, you mentioned that you and Doug, you've both gone to beer festivals, right? And see, in the before times, we would gang up and we go, okay, look, we're gonna work these sides. You get that beer, I'll taste a little bit of yours, I'll taste a little bit of yours, and we just kind of work the walls all the way down. And so that way you make this a whole thing. I know COVID has kind of changed that a little bit, where you can't do that like you would do before. So.
With my friends, I think I can. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, Doug, do you have a third one?
I do. And speaking of big beer,
Avery. Ooh, Jesus. Nice. Every time I see Avery, I'm like just shaking my head. This is not going to be. Okay.
This is pumpkin season for you, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a bunch of pumpkin beers, but because I was sending something to our friend Renee pick up because she wanted some spooky beers because she's big into spooky season. So I did not send her a rum kit. Those things are not cheap. So
she wanted spooky beers, you say?
Let's
spooky beers, like Halloween beers, like they have silly. Like I did send her one of these because it's pumpkin, but like whatever. Just shake your rumpkin. You're right, Daniel. Here we go.
So let's talk pumpkin beer. So since we had somebody rage quit the beer group because of a pumpkin meme, let's all have a conversation about pumpkin beers.
Okay.
So I like to say that, and I said it last night on my Badger Beer Hour, I like the bigger pumpkin beers because the spice, I feel, is weighed out by the big ABV and the alcohol. I feel that there's absolutely a balance there. I feel sometimes that the pumpkin spice overwhelms a small ABV beer. Mm-hmm. So, Doug, before I let Jerry respond to that, you tell me what's in that glass and your face. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Right, the face is not right.
No, I'm trying to work out. So what it's listed here is ale brewed with pumpkin and spices and aged in rum barrels. So I'm getting the booze part, but I was trying to discern the pumpkin and spices and how the rum flavor blends into it. And I could don't get a whole lot of the rum. I get the that warmth you get from drinking rum. There's a different kind of warmth you get from drinking rum. I get that,
Yes.
and the pumpkin and the spices are there. But yeah, also I have to sneeze. Hold on.
Is it good though, Doug? Like rum and pumpkin, it doesn't sound good to me. I'm sorry.
No, I think rum and pumpkin are fine together because they're
Okay.
they're fairly simple. It's good. It is super boozy. I mean, 16.3. I mean, yeah, it's going to be boozy.
Right.
But
Avery is crazy like that.
and I'm going to tell you, it drinks more like a barley wine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like that kind of really sweet, heavy ABV stuff. That's what it drinks like.
And do we have the pumpkin spice? So do we have the nutmeg and the cinnamon and all that? I mean, is that prominent or is that in there or what's going on?
Oh geez, this was bottled in 2018.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was that old.
Wow. And that's just not pre-pandemic. That's a little bit, that's a bunch before pandemic.
Yeah.
2018. I mean, man.
You said that because I was going to ask if there was an age, like there was an aged beer.
Well, it even has like a batch number. It's like batch number 8 is on the label there, but like I don't know what that means. But I just was looking to see if, because all it says is pumpkin and spices. It doesn't say what it is. And then when I was turning the bottle, I realized, oh, this was bottled in 2018. Like,
wow. So we got to think some of those adjuncts have fell off.
Yeah, the pumpkin is there and it's in the flavor and it's in the nose, but it is not like when you get pumpkin beers. That is like, it is heavy-handed, and this is not that. That is mellowed it out. It's still very boozy, and I think that might be why the rum flavors aren't quite as prominent too. I think the flavors have all kind of just faded into the booziness of it.
Maybe
it's good, and I'll finish it. But
did you buy that soon? Did you buy that recently? Or was it in your cellar?
No, this was not in my cellar fridge. This was one I bought somewhere recently, before I left for Iceland. But yeah.
Wow. So Jerry, I asked a question here, and I'll recap it so you can remember, or you can hit me with it. But I find that the better pumpkin beers are the bigger ABV because it balances those pumpkin flavors and that spice. I love to say about pumpkin beers, I love pumpkin pie before y'all started putting it in beer. And no disrespect, but I love pumpkin pie and I love that spice. And I love pumpkin pie. I can eat and drink pumpkin pie all year round. But sometimes in my beer, it doesn't give me that balance. So where are you with the pumpkin beers? Do you love them? And then if so, is there a specific type of pumpkin beer that you go for?
I do like pumpkin beers. Sweet potato pie is better, but that's a separate conversation.
We will remove Doug from the broadcast so we can have a sweet potato pie conversation without him ruining that shit.
But here's the thing.
Hey, you eat what you eat, and that's cool. I will just be over here silently judging you.
Right, that's fine. We haven't food shamed in a while, so we gotta get back to that.
Yeah. So.
Right, we gotta get back to that.
All right, but anyways, do explain the sweet potato pie over pumpkin thing.
So. Right. So Jerry loves sweet potato pie beers, so we got that.
Well, no, I've not had a sweet potato. I mean, the only sweet potato beer I had was something that Dr. J did with Trillium. There was a beer that she did.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing.
At the beginning, I want to say it wasn't the top of this year. It was the top of last year. It was something like Wonderfully Complex Individual. I believe that was the name of the beer. But yet it had sweet potatoes it was Dr. J and her organization Crafted for All did it with Trillium.
Okay.
Did it with Trillium. So, but as far as pumpkin beers, I do like them. I know St. Arnold here in Texas makes a beer called Pumpkinator. Especially their regular Pumpkinator is good, but their barrel aged one is really nice. There are a few pumpkin beers that happen lately. I think one of my favorite pumpkin beers is one of those high ABVs that you'd mentioned, Greg. There's a beer that Bottle Logic did. They named it as a yam beer, and it was called Picture If You Will. Now, so it's not. I don't know if it was pumpkin or if it was yam because they put it under the yam beer category, but that may have been just a misname there. But it was called Picture If You Will by Bottle Logic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Pumpkin is super good, but I hate pumpkin beers.
Oh no! See,
interesting. Okay, I get it. I get it.
If this was something that was already asked earlier, but I wanted to know, Doug, what beers you had there in Iceland. I mean, I was curious what kind of beers you would have.
Yeah.
So, the beers there are generally lager. That's kind of their style. Not high ABV stuff. Generally, just kind of in the 3 to 6 range. I had some of their just general like Gull, which is like a 4.2% lager, and a couple of beers from Viking Brewery, and then we did in Reykjavik. We did stop at the Einstock Draft House, and I got a flight there. Now their flights are 4-ounce pours, and they are full 4-ounce pours. So they had their white lager, which is quite good. I like that one. They have it's a white ale. They had their lager, and I forget there was another one, and then they had a toasted porter. That toasted porter was excellent. That was really, really good. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you're not going to find a rumpkin over there. They're not going to make some super high gravity thing. That's not how they roll. But like, it was cool. I mean, we because we were driving so much. I mean, we drove 1,700 miles in that week to drive all the way around the country. So it's not like I could just go and drink like high gravity stuff. Like I would have a beer or two and maybe, and some, it was just, if we had it where we were getting dinner or whatever. But like I said, it's largely lager, and they don't have a boatload of breweries. It's that's something they're starting. They were a fairly dry country for most of their existence, but they have some distilleries and stuff like that. They had one thing they had there that which we tried, and I can grab it and show you what it was. But we had one of the things they had that was a liqueur that was a birch liqueur, and it was called Bjork, which I thought was funny.
That is funny.
Yeah, so that was good, but yeah, like I said, just largely lagers, nothing fancy.
I love lagers. That's
right. What's wrong with the damn lager? Nothing.
Nothing's wrong with them. I'm just saying it's a lot of one note style beers, because lager is good, but lager is very one note to me, at least. I don't get a lot of that. Yeah, I imagine you're right, Daniel. That toasted porter is really excellent. That's their best that I had. They did have a wee heavy there that I wanted to have, but I also just didn't want any more, like, because I had like, so it was most everything you eat there is fish related. Surprise, surprise. And I had something there called fish stew. It's not a stew. It's fish and onions and potatoes, and they give you rye bread with butter between it, and that's their fish stew. And that's what I had before I went there. So I was pretty full. That's tough. And that's considered street food to them. So that was super interesting.
Yikes. So, yeah, while we're here, Doug, what's going on up there? The pictures that y'all took were just, I don't know, Jerry, where you saw them too? They were just fabulous.
Really,
and it was great because like it really kind of transported us there. I was almost felt like I was hanging out with you and Jill, and y'all like taking these pictures, and like just the landscape behind you was just like the lady, my lady here, she went to Iceland right before the pandemic, and she just said that the landscapes are there were just you just can't really even describe it, and pictures don't even do it justice. And it's funny because the pictures to me did them justice, but you're all sitting there saying no. No,
there is so just to put it in scale, Iceland is the ring road, which is the road that kind of goes all the way around the country. That is generally, if you drove it from start to finish, is about anywhere from 11 to 13 hours. if you're driving it, not in the wintertime, obviously. But the country itself is so sparsely populated. Reykjavik is only 200,000 people. That's their largest city. Their second largest city is Akureyri, which is called the capital of the North. It's 20,000 people. That's their second largest city. And you drive, and it's just fucking nothing. It's farms and sheep and horses, and it's gorgeous. It's freaking gorgeous. And parts of like the part near Reykjavik when you drive through and you come out, well, that's Keflavik, which is right below Reykjavik, is where you land. And you come out of that, and that is just like lava fields and rocks and moss and lichen. It just looks super cool. And then you get up into the north where the fjords are, and that's just completely different because it's hilly and just it's vast. It is so vast that taking pictures, unless you have like one of those like $4,000 cameras, you're not going to give it justice. It's huge and expansive. Like you're sitting there and you're just staring and you're looking like a big panoramic view like this, and they're just gorgeous mountains and clouds and just like and waters behind and nothing else. There's no people. Like it's stunningly beautiful. It really is.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So while we're here in Iceland, mostly your trip was, because we were talking before and I was saying, like, since the last time we saw each other on stream here, you've had mostly kind of a structured kind of, you got to get on a plane this time. You got to get off plane this time. You got to be in certain places. You got to check into your Airbnb, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to get your rent a car and all that, right? You guys rented a car and all that, right? So this is all kind of structured. I mean, your days, y'all could just do whatever you wanted during the days, but even then, I'm betting that y'all had like a little bit of itinerary or something. We had them a little bit, vague. I don't see you guys as like people who schedule every hour, but I see you guys as someone who schedules, like we want to hit this during the day, and you're not really overly crazy about it. But I see you as someone who has, hey, we want to do this, we want to do that.
Right.
So generally, how did that go as far as,
Well, we would be in areas, and so full disclosure, Jill does almost all the planning. She is so much better at that shit than I am, and she's a research queen. Mm-hmm. That lady researched the hell out of everything. I look at stuff and think, oh, great, and that's cool. And honestly, because we both know kind of what we want when we vacation. Most of the stuff she's interested in, I'm interested in. Or I'll say, hey, I see this one thing and I'd really like to do that. And it's never a problem. But we start out and we're like, okay, we need to get to this place. What's on the way? Or do we want to take a side trip and go over here? And we allow ourselves, we might have certain things. Like we scheduled one thing out of that a whole week that was a scheduled thing. And that was to go to the natural baths, and that's because it's like a silica bath and you have to reserve a time to go in. Now the thing is, you reserve time to go in, but you could stay there the rest of the day if you like. But otherwise, we just kind of did what we wanted. And
Gary's gonna be right back.
Yeah,
keep going.
And no, it was while we have things we want to hit, we allow for some freestyling.
Right. Gotcha. While Jerry's away, because I don't think we prepped him for this, let's transition a little bit, Doug, and we can get back to. I suspect that we'll be talking about Iceland for a little bit here, because it's really not anything that we could just really cover in one day.
Yeah, and we'll come back to it in different shows and all that stuff.
Yes.
I will make one suggestion to anybody going there. If you're going to drive, just buy the entire full insurance package. Do that. Probably half the roads in Iceland are not paved, so they have like insurance for
I remember that.
They have insurance for things. They have insurance for ash because they have volcanoes. You have insurance for all this other stuff. So So we rented a car and got the full insurance package, and we rented a 4-wheel drive in case we had to go to different roads. And yeah, it was like $1,000 for a week, but then we didn't have to worry about anything if anything happened to the car. And the other thing is like you get that insurance, and that particular insurance, if you get stuck anywhere, they will tow you. Some places will not. Some places will only tow you if you're on certain roads. And there's certain roads you are not allowed to drive on during certain months of the year. So yeah, just get the full insurance. That's the only suggestion I have. Anyway, go forth.
So Doug requested that we talk about a TV show, but I'm going to hijack this before we even get to what Doug wanted to talk about. Because I have actually 2 shows that I want to talk about.
Yes.
They're both dumb reality shows. I'm warning all of you this. But so Jerry's back. Hey Jerry, we're talking about TV shows. So then my first TV show I want to talk about is one that everybody knows, which is Big Brother. Yes, it's a dumb reality, stupid TV show. I got it. Everybody pretty much knows what it is, so I don't have to really even tell you the premise or anything. But something really cool happened this year, which was, and you guys don't even know it, so it's great. Little background story is, just like many reality shows, they don't put black people on it. And when they do, they put 1 or 2 people on it. Like Survivor has a cast of what? Let's say I don't really know. I watch it, but like 18 people. There's like 3 black people on it. It's ridiculous. It's not even like proportion to how many black people are, 13% or whatever. It's not even that ever. Big Brother put 6 black people on their program. This is the first time that I've ever seen this many black people. So what happens is, Doug, believe it or not, all the black people got together and said, day one, we're not going to vote you out. So these wonderful, beautiful 6 black people got together, formed an alliance, day one, called the Cookout, which I love, and they promised each other they would not vote each other out, and they would stick to each other to make sure that there would be one, for the first time in Big Brother history, that there would be a black person that won it. And they succeeded. The show ends next week. There are 3 black people left, but they got down to the final 6. These wonderful, beautiful, fucking black people got together and did it. It actually kind of makes me emotional because, and I know it's a stupid ass reality show, but at some point, like, representation matters, and people seeing this, it matters. And I know it's just a dumb, idiotic reality show that means nothing at the end of the day, but to me, it means something because we all stuck together. I actually put 6 of us together on one cast. Usually it's like 2 black people, and then what happens is they end up fighting each other, and all that. It just really annoys me. Absolutely. So the fact that they were able to do that and accomplish that, the last 3 are Ozza, X, and Derek, the 2 guys in the middle, and then the beautiful looking lady at the on the bottom left with that wonderful natural hair she's got going. It's those 3 that are left. One of them's gonna win it, and I'm proud of them, and I love it, and I know it's a stupid reality show, but I don't really give a fuck. Thank you. So point number 2 is actually a fun, crazy, dumbass reality show called The Circle. I don't know if anybody's seen this one.
Me.
Okay. This shit is fun. It's fun. They put people in these rooms and all to this building, and then like the only way they can correspond with each other is through like this like video screen, and you can like be
but yourself. They don't see each other.
They don't see each other. You could be yourself, or you could be a catfish, Jerry. So I could come in being you, Jerry, and they give me all like they get you take all of your pictures and all that, and then I could just be Jerry, and then you just portray yourself as Jerry, and then people try to figure out whether you're a catfish or whether you're real and whether you're likable and all that. I'm telling you, the Circle it's fun. Like what I like about reality shows is that like they're just dumb, like mindless things. Like Doug loves, again, no disrespect, but Doug loves, and I love him too sometimes, but I love more of like just the dumbness. Like just give me something where I don't really have to like think about it and I can just fall into it. Doug likes thought provoking things, and don't get me wrong, I love that shit too. And there's a place for all that. But if you just want like a reality show that's just dumb and fun, The Circle, it really is a good time. Doug, you want to jump on The Circle?
Yes, it is definitely a fun time. I would highly suggest watching the ones from other countries.
Really?
They have one from Brazil and one from France. The one from France, that season is excellent. What's cool is about the American ones, people are really trying to figure out who are catfish. And in the other countries, they could give two fucks. Like I don't care if they're a catfish. they don't. It's just so weird because they play it so differently and actually smarter than we do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So which one should I check out? Because I've seen them. I just haven't jumped in.
Yeah. Grab the ones that are from France and Brazil is funny because those people, like, they're dancing in their room the entire time. It is just awesome. Like it's so much fun. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So Doug, you had a TV show, and then Jerry, if you have one that's cool, we didn't prep you, so we're not gonna hold you to it. But Doug.
Yeah, so I have been watching something called Why the Last Man, which is based on a graphic novel. And I wanted to watch it because basically the premise is all of a sudden one day, all the men die on planet Earth except one. And the one that doesn't die happens to be the acting president's son. So what's interesting is that means the cast is except for one guy, is entirely female. And that's pretty great because as you were talking about representation matters there too. So one of the people on that show is a person that I really, really admire who is a big kind of outspoken feminist is Amber Tamblyn, who's been in like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and like I don't know, a bunch of different things. And
I have that tweet, Doug. If I can put it up whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I was gonna share it too, but yeah, that's it. Is basically I tweeted something about to the effect of like she's playing a character that is like this woman who is uber conservative housewife, but like is basically screwing over her own rights just because she's believes that as a conservative woman that is what matters. And when all this happens, she goes to the person and says, if men are gone, we're done for. That was the one line she said. And I said, hey, how the hell does she play that when it is like the polar opposite of her without crawling out of her skin? And it was just kind of a tongue in cheek. And she replied this shit to me, like quote tweeted it. And I was like, because that is a badassery comment. Just it is. That last line where she says, it probably helps that I've been acting for 25 years and I'm really fucking good at everything I do. Good on you. Fucking own that shit. That was great.
Right. She said everything I do.
Right. She mic drop. That was a mic drop.
Man. And it was funny because after I read that, I was like, oh, maybe she thought I was insulting her because that's not what I was saying. I was marveling at her ability to act in something that is so contrary to her like core values as a public figure.
Right.
And just like,
right.
Yeah. And just the idea that she was saying she was exploring how oppressive stuff is for women and how they actually can become part of that oppression just by being part of it.
Right.
Like not realizing that that's actually oppressing them because they're so wrapped up in the system. It was, yeah, that was, again, it's not a starstruck thing. I just really admire her because her and like America Ferrera and Amy Schumer, those are three very public and popular women who voice their opinion very loudly about women's rights.
Right.
And I just think they're badasses. So that just made me like, wow, cool. She actually took the time to respond to some schmuck like me. That was great.
Right. Look at that. And it probably
Also-
helps that I've been acting for 25 years and I'm really fucking good at everything I do.
He said, "My name rings out in these streets."
Mhm.
It's like,
I
And
love
that's-
it.
oh, like,
love
And that tweet aside, that show is completely worth watching. It's super engrossing, because the idea is like you think about, and initially I was a little worried because when it came in, you're like, all these men died. Now I was like, oh shit, are they going to make this like a freaking, a soliloquy on how men are indispensable and blah 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 blah? And it's not like that. I mean, yeah, there is some of that, but what you realize is if you take a whole gender and just cut them off the face of the earth, well, holy shit, that changes everything, regardless of the gender or non-gender or non-binary, whatever. If you cut a whole swath of people out, half of the population, Thanos style, that's gonna fuck everything up. So yeah, it's really, really well done, I think.
well, that and nobody wants to see if all women are not gone. Sorry, I just don't.
No, I did read a book that
Maybe
was
I'm
like that.
wrong.
No, there's a book called Sleeping Beauties by Stephen King and his son Owen King that was that. Where
Oh,
women
so
went to sleep
all
and never,
women are cut off, and then it's
like
men
all
left.
like the now
Okay.
that
Okay.
is that turns into a fucking shit show, as you can imagine, with a bunch of dudes running the. So yeah, that is like you read that and you're like, fuck yeah, that's exactly how that would go. So yeah.
Look, Lauren got the Thanos reference.
Well, hey, shout out to Lauren. Lauren's been doing the whole MCU universe on Twitter and does like a live stream as she's watching
Yes,
it.
she does.
And it's great.
Yes.
It's great because it's like just cool to see someone who isn't normally into that stuff and just is like live tweeting through it. So yeah, kudos to her.
Right. Jerry, any comments on any of the crap that we said?
I mean, those look like shows I want to check out. I've not checked out, and I've not seen any of the shows, those reality shows. I mean, I haven't seen Big Brother in a while, but I definitely haven't seen like the latest season. And The Circle, I have not seen. The Last Man. Gosh, the only show that I can think of that I watch a lot of shows on YouTube, and I'm very happy for a lot of out and proud creators, especially a lot of Black out and proud creators that are on YouTube doing a lot of shows. There's actually a series of shows called Chasing Reality, and there's actually a Chasing Reality Dallas on YouTube. So they're actually in the middle of their third season right now. I think episode 2 dropped the other night. And so you have these individuals who are LGBTQ and they're Black and they're chasing their dreams, whatever. They're either designers or they're singers or they're designers or whatever. Some of them are stylists, and they're just trying to become bigger in what they do here in the city. And of course, you get a chance to just see the different things going on in their life. I mean, it's a reality show, so yeah, you definitely have the drama there, but it's really cool because you just have these Black LGBT people really just living their life and just trying to do their things. And I like the whole series. There's a Chasing Atlanta. They're chasing Reality Atlanta. There's a Chasing Reality Dallas. And there was recently a Chasing Reality LA. But there's a lot of different spinoffs on there. But Chasing Dallas is the one I watch on YouTube.
Wow. So that means it's free. That's great.
And, yep, it's free.
Can I make a? Yeah, I wanted to make a comment on reality stuff real quick. The Circle is very, 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 very LGBTQ friendly. If anybody is in there is queer at any level of that spectrum, everybody backs them. I mean, everybody, and rightfully so. I'm just saying, like, that show is like really, really good about that stuff. I'm
sorry, go on. My bad.
No, I was going to say one other reality show that my wife started watching that I haven't caught season 2 yet. I watched season 1 with her. It's a show called Love on the Spectrum, which will make you cry. It is people who are autistic trying to find love, and it is the sweetest. It is the sweetest show. Like, these people are just the sweetest people. Yeah, and it's because it's not just the people; it's their families talking about how, they just hope their kids just find love. And you just think about how, like, as a person who is not autistic and how we go about that. And it's just like, oh yeah, we just go
normal. Right.
And for them, there's a whole extra hurdle and generally they're dating other people who are autistic and all that stuff, but can their autism, because the autism manifests itself in a bunch of different ways,
Sure.
How do they manage each other? Can they work together in that? So yeah, that show's excellent. It's beautiful, and like I said, I'm not ashamed to say that show's made me cry a few times. That is a really good show.
I can only imagine.
Oh, what platform?
That is on Netflix.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Look at that, Doug. I didn't know you were in it. I thought I was the only reality show person.
No, but I'm gonna say, when you say mindless shit, my mindless shit is House Hunters. I can put that on and just I don't give a shit what's going on unless I'm really annoyed with the people. That is just like background shit before I fall asleep.
I mean, Love It or Listed would probably be for me if it's still
Love It or Listed.
Love It or Listed was also just sort of like, oh, okay.
Hey Doug, that one that I showed you, the one on Netflix where they do like one luxury one. There's season 2 of that now. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't. And we watched one episode of that, and what we were a little frustrated about was the idea that it wasn't like in the same country. Like to me, I would rather that instead of being like, oh, we're going to do this cheap thing here in Finland, and then we're going to do this really expensive thing in Brazil. Just give me 3 in the area you're at, and that would be real to me. That would be more interesting. That's me.
But yeah, I'm just saying it's on. So
okay, well,
I haven't checked it out. I haven't checked it out, but I just saw Netflix gave me a little thing. So, man, we've been heavy here. We're gonna roll, Doug. Man, I said we were gonna have a.
You said we were gonna brief one, and I knew we wouldn't because we haven't been on here in 3 weeks. So,
well, that and when you have 2 guests, I mean, you gotta like.
Yeah. And Jerry, thanks for jumping in, dude. This is I know we were kind of like, hey, can you, and you just answered the call, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like noisy cars in my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. you have Fast and Furious going out inside of your.
All right.
Yeah, and Jerry, before we all go here, well, actually, I don't know, Doug. If you don't care, we'll probably all just drop off ourselves. But Jerry, talk a little bit about Modern Brews and Beats and what y'all been doing lately.
So we actually took a little bit of a break only because my co-host Tony is in Arkansas, and so we were remote. We started our show remote before the pandemic, and so we were always doing like remote recording. And because of me going to Barrel and Flow, and because of him, going to Hot Springs, celebrating his wife's anniversary, and he's a young father, 2 young boys. One is 1, the other one's 3, 4. So they have a lot of stuff going on. So we took a little bit of a break, not necessarily planned, but we ended up taking like a 3-week break. We recorded a show tonight, and so the next show will be up Sunday. And Modern Brews and Beats is found anywhere you find audio podcasts: Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Google. And it's really just a beer and music joint. We just like, very similar to what we were talking about with what you were talking about with Ailmatic. We like to get those music spins on what different breweries do, but it's brews, so it may be beer, or it may be coffee, or it may be kombucha, whatever is brewed, so it just depends on exactly what's going on there. So
excellent. And what else do you do?
The other thing
beer wise, I know I heard you were out last weekend.
What was I doing?
He's like, what?
What was I doing last weekend?
You weren't out with our friend Jeff Tepper and something with.
Yes, we were out. We were out at Vector. So like this like Oktoberfest season, so we were actually doing a lot of different things, and we were at a local brewery, Vector Brewing, here in East Dallas, and enjoying their beer there. And I have my main site besides Modern Brews and Beats is North Texas Beer, and so
North Texas Beer, for. Yes.
With North Texas Beer, it really is just talking about. A lot of people don't really think about Texas beer unless it's like Jester King, or maybe because of the pickle beer success, Martin House. But there's just not a lot of breweries known about what's going on here in Texas. So I just wanted to like tell people what was happening here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The word Metroplex is kind of weird. That's definitely a local word, but But yeah, NTX Beer on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. On especially for those, is NTX_beer. But yeah, you can follow me there, and I'm just usually talking about what's happening. I think the latest thing happening there now is that we're a month away from the Texas Craft Brewers Festival, which will be in Austin. So if you're definitely want to get a good taste of Texas beers, not only the hazies and the stouts, but a lot of stouts in between, that comes up that comes up October 23rd, and that'll be coming up soon.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't surprise me, Jeff.
It's funny because Jeff, so like I just kind of started going out to breweries and kind of meeting some different people, and I've just always been curious about not only making beer, but the business of running a tap room and looking at the customer service and looking at how things are marketed. And I think I found that's more fascinating on how beer is marketed locally, because at the end of the day, we're talking about craft beer. All these breweries, we have 90 breweries now within the Dallas-Fort Worth area. 90.
What?
90 brewing operations, and that's not even talking about the people who are soon to open. So with that, you can imagine that for a lot of people who are used to getting their macro beers, they want their Bud Light, they want their Modelo, all stuff like that. It's like, how do we get people in that door? And I always am fascinated about, like, how did you find out about this place? How did you come in the door? What made you turn into this place? Was it somebody you knew? Did you just kind of, it's a new brewery in my neighborhood, I've never had like a local beer, so I'll see what they do, And I like to overhear conversations of, like, how do they introduce them to this beer? How are they getting them into something that they may like, even if they say, I'm not usually a beer drinker. So I just find it fascinating.
Cool. Lauren has a question. I'm not sure what she's referring to.
With the
podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe she's talking about episodes of the podcast.
Yeah. Got any recent favorite episodes to recommend?
So look for even the latest one. The episode 95 is going to be up Sunday, so you can tune into that one because I'll have that up Sunday. But there's an episode 90 which is called 5 Alive, which is kind of interesting because we were talking about songs that make you feel good. We listed like 5 songs, and Tony brought a part to the show talking about our top 5, and so we call it our Modern Brews and Beats top 5, and we wanted to talk about 5 songs that make you feel motivated, that energize you, and of course we had a special guest on who's a day one for our show. On IG, you'll see her as the Undeniable Vixen. Her name is Angie Thomas, and she's a brand ambassador here locally, and so she's been a long listener for the show, and she's on that episode. It's crazy. And if you listen to the show a lot, Tony often will kind of dig at Angie about some things. Oh, Jerry, you can possess it. No one's gonna. Angie's going to be the only one who won't. Who will give you some heat of what you're talking about. And so you listen to the show, there's just a lot of crazy stuff. But that's episode, I think, 90. But 95 will be out Sunday. That'll also be a fun show. That'll be discussing Justin Hatley with Lakewood Brewing Company, and some good talk about, actually talking about a conversation that Jeff and I had at Vector, because I reference it in this episode. We were talking about what makes a Mexican lager. And we were just kind of going into that, and I told him what I thought it was, and we kind of went deeper into it. So
cool. Jeff says episode 75 for the win.
I wonder why Jeff has that particular episode in mind.
Yeah. Something like Starlight.
Yeah, let me guess. Jeff's on it, maybe. Anyway, Lauren's into this, so. Real quick, where can we find Modern Brews and Beats? Everywhere you can find a podcast, right?
Literally anywhere you find audio podcasts.
Okay.
Jeff has definitely been in the mix, and definitely listen to episode 75. That is a fun show. But yeah, anywhere you find a Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Google, just anywhere you find audio podcasts.
Lauren, I famously said, I don't know if you were watching, I famously said on the stream more than once that Jerry's podcast is wonderful to fall asleep to. And I get heckled.
Mm-hmm.
And Jerry understands what I'm talking about, though. I've already explained it to him.
But the
Not a gazillion times, but enough.
Was primarily a music show, and I think you were awesome.
It was great.
Awesome.
It was great. It was
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah, it was great. Let's see here. So Jerry, actually, we'll let you go, and then we'll see you backstage if you want to hang out. And then Doug and I will wrap this little baby up here, and then we'll see you on the other side. Lauren's into it though. She's probably gonna jump in, and I gotta finish that one that I started. I didn't finish the one I was telling you about. I think it's 93 or something. It's recent.
No, that was like way back. So that was not even in the 90s. I think that was like a mixtape episode. So that you might be earlier than this.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the one. There's a recent one I listened to though. Anyway. Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yeah. I blame the drugs that I'm on. So hey man, they're pretty strong. Yeah. Oh, and the alcohol too. I'm not supposed to, or I am. Whatever. Jerry.
Whatever. My voice is so bad Jerry. It won't get recognized. It'll be okay. All right, thanks, Jerry.
Thanks again. We'll see you really soon. Probably sooner than we think. Which is good. Not a bad thing. Cool. Thanks, buddy.
Cheers.
Awesome. So Doug, I guess, yeah, because I fell asleep. It's Lauren. I'll explain it. Long story short, Lauren. Jerry, there's some ones where Jerry does, and Jerry could probably explain it better than me, but I'm going to. So then, whatever. There are ones where it's a mix. They do mixes, and the music was just. It was a Saturday afternoon. It was a nice Saturday afternoon, and the music was just so mellow and so it was engaging actually, that it literally, I was just laying down and it literally put me to sleep in a good way. It was really nice. I woke up and I was like, damn, I got to go back and rewind what I listened to, and I did, and it was great. But everybody makes fun of me because they're like, oh, well, that's not an endorsement of a podcast. I'll sleep during it. Well, if you heard the damn podcast and you would listen to it, maybe you would understand. Thank you. Anyway, Doug.
Well, there is some very real I'm saying from a very purely physical perspective, like Jerry has a very LeVar Burton look to him with the just awesome gray beard and gray.
Yes.
He looks awesome. Like he really does. And his voice is very soothing. Like even just on our show, it's just a very soothing, nice, pleasant voice. And not everybody.
And his podcast partner too. Yeah. Both of them actually. It definitely has a level of like, yeah, it's way less brash than we are, for sure.
Well, we're a couple of lunatics, so a little bit different for us.
And also, you got to look at us during this whole thing too, which is
not great for you guys.
Sorry it's very unsettling, I'm sure, compared to listening to Jerry and Tony. So, anyway,
all right.
Anywho, on that note, I had a good time tonight, Doug. I'm glad to be back. We will be back next week with our friend Darren Carter. And
Darren, this is going to be great. Barbecue, man. This is going to be
great.
Barbecue. We haven't delved too deep into that yet, and that's going to be fucking great.
No, and I'm ready to talk about it because I got a smoker out back that I haven't done in a while because I've been sick. My kids have been killing it on it. Man, we had wings tonight off that. It was amazing. But to get to really sum up quick is I had 3 really, really good beers tonight. Central Waters, Crew Dry Pills, pills that everybody would like, straight up, just nothing, out of the ordinary. This wonderful milkshake IPA with peaches and strawberry. And no fruit added, he said. It was just hops. You really got the strawberry, Doug. You're gonna love that one when you get it.
Crazy that he didn't add any fruit in that.
Oh, it was fruity, y'all. And then the table beer, Belgian. I still have this left. I still have all of them left, being a little bit cool. But this table beer was really good, flavorful for a lower ABV. So Yeah, Darren needs to bring barbecue next week.
Hey, by the way, folks, if you can find Darren, and we'll definitely be promoting the shit out of him. He has his own barbecue business. He sells rubs, barbecue sauce. If you're
The
in his
sauce is
area,
amazing.
yeah, I've been meaning to buy
Sauce
the
is
rubs
amazing.
specifically because I want to try it on ribs and stuff like that. I just haven't gotten to it, and I feel like a turd.
I think
for
it's
not doing
sold
that.
out. I think it's all sold out.
It might
The
be.
last time
It
I
might
checked,
be.
it was all sold out.
All right, then I might have to get sauce. But anyway, yeah,
I'm gonna look though this week, and I'll tell you.
he's fucking excellent at that stuff. So yeah, it's gonna be a great show.
So get to your beers.
Plus, if he can shit on you about the Cleveland Browns, it'll be great.
He's not. I mean, man, OBJ all the way this week, man. I know you think he's crazy, and he is, but it's great.
Well, yeah, I have him on my fucking fantasy team, and he's not playing.
Why?
Because it was late and nobody had picked him. I'm like, well, I'll pick him up. Maybe take a flyer. It was like a flyer thing.
Okay.
So.
I know you think he's crazy, so I'm like, why are you putting him on your fantasy team?
Yeah. Anyway. So none of these were bad. None. So I just want to make that clear. These are all like degrees of difference. That
was bad. Sorry.
All right. So this again, I can't say this is the worst. It wasn't. Just all of them were just pretty close. This is good. It's different. So yeah. Yep. Second, Rumpkin. Super boozy and just it's good. It's tasty. I'm almost done with it already, which is
3 years old too, and it's fine.
Yeah, and I think this was the best thing I had was the golden ale. Wow. This was low ABV, but just super crushable, really drinkable, really tasty, but not like you look at tasty for the Rumpkin where it's just like here's these flavors in your face. This isn't like that. Much more demure, just really good, really tasty. So thank you, JHG, for that one. That was really excellent from Port City.
Yes, sir. So we return next week with Darren. Until then.
Yeah. Cheers, folks.
Yeah, I didn't really get to talk about my crazy stuff in the hospital, so we'll get to it next week.
Yes, let's. We did my Iceland stuff. Let's do your crazy stuff next week.
Yeah, and we still got more Iceland to talk about. So, and I assume you have some Iceland beers, right? You bring any home?
I didn't bring any home. I did bring a whiskey home that I will share in the show next week.
Sweetness. All right, I think we have something here.